So what I'm telling you here is that what you need to do, so to speak, in order to increase your chances of having a spiritual experience is that you have to clean out the static in your mind, the static in your energy field. And if you will make an effort to do this, it is simply a matter of time until you have cleared away so much static that a ray of light from your higher being is going to shine through to your conscious mind, and you will have an intuitive experience, a spiritual experience, a mystical experience. And if you keep engaging in this process, your intuitive spiritual experiences will become gradually more and more pure until you one day will have the kind of experience that I have had, where you not only experience something in the spiritual realm, but you can actually go to the very highest level of the spiritual realm, and then you can experience something beyond it. Something that is so pure, yet so real, that you can't deny it. But at the same time, you can't describe it. You can't put words on it. Now, as I said, between that high experience of God's pure being and your normal state of consciousness, there are many spiritual experiences. And you can go out there on the internet and you can find people who have had them, near-death experiences, meditative experiences, and people have had all kinds of experiences of a higher reality. What I was talking about in my first video was an experience where you actually go beyond anything that has form. And that's why it's difficult to describe. You can't really describe it in words. Yet, when you have that experience, you know it's real. What I personally experienced the first time I had this really transcendent experience was that it was actually during a spiritual retreat, and I was in a state of meditation, and we were asked to envision the highest expression of God harmony that we could envision. And I believe there are, as I said, there's a hierarchy of spiritual beings that reach from us here on earth to the ultimate Creator, to the ultimate God. And I believe that when the Creator first started the process of creation, it actually divided itself into two polarities, not a dualistic polarity, because they're not opposites, but it divided itself into a expanding and a contracting force. We could call it masculine and feminine, but it is so beyond what we normally see as masculine and feminine on earth. The Taoists call it yin and yang, alpha and omega, it's called in the Bible. So my concept at the time was that there was two beings that represent the highest level of the world of form, alpha and omega. And when I tuned into their presence, I felt like I was taken out of my body and I was transported to this highest level of the world of form, where I stood before these two beings, alpha and omega. They did not have a human form. They were simply spheres of light. But I noticed that between the two spheres of light was a flow of energy that was like a figure-eight flow from one to the other. And when I tuned my awareness to this figure-eight flow, my awareness was drawn to the center, to the nexus of the figure-eight. And when I focused on that, suddenly it was like a world opened up. It was almost like a world beyond the world of form, a universe beyond the universe. It was like I saw outside the world of form. And there was nothing out there. There was no form. There was no thing. But yet it was not empty. There was a presence there. There was a being in that emptiness, that nothingness, that no form. And that being was conscious and it was aware. And when I tuned into it, I experienced, this is my source. This is where I came from. And I tell you, the experience was beyond any reality you could experience here on earth. It was completely beyond sensory experience. It was more real than sensory experience. It was more real than anything you have experienced on this planet. It was so real that it was beyond even the thought of reality versus unreality. It simply was. And I knew that this is my source. I knew this is the source of all life, including you. And I can tell you that when you have that experience, your entire outlook on life changes. You gain a totally new sense of who you are, a totally new sense of purpose, but also a sense of peace. And I can tell you that when you have had that experience, there's nothing that you want more than to see other people have the same experience. To see other people experience their source. For I can tell you, your source is the same as my source. And when you experience your source, you and I will know that we came from the same source. So what meaning does it have that there can be conflict between us? All conflict between human beings spring from the duality consciousness that makes us believe in the illusion that we are separate selves, separate beings. When you experience your source, you go beyond that illusion of a separate being. You know who you are, and you know who all other people are. And I guarantee you that not only will it give you a sense of inner peace within yourself, but it will also give you a new way to interact with other human beings, so you can establish a sense of peace with them. And I guarantee you that if enough people would have this experience, we as the human race would rise above the consciousness of duality that creates war and conflict. And then we could have real peace on this planet. A peace that comes from knowing who we are. And that if I harm you, I am harming myself, because we are both part of a greater self. That is the foundation for real peace. I invite you to have that experience.